Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Thank you for coming. I mean, this very cold weather. May Allah make it easier on all of us. So last week we started the discussion of Surah Al-Insaan. And we basically focused on the central theme of the surah. And again, this theme recurs in Quran because it is very, very important. And the importance stems from the fact that to instill in the human being the idea of the reference and the importance of having a reference in your life as a concept. Then we talk about what type of reference you want basically to choose for yourself, for myself, okay? But it's very important. And I think humanity was able to reach that in a very, very strong way around 500, 600 years ago. Not long time ago, in fact, okay? In other words, it started with the discovery, the most important discovery of what we call the scientific approach or the experimental approach, meaning that the human being should not accept anything without an evidence. In science, okay, today, nobody will, the first thing they will ask you, what is your evidence? What is your proof? Show me the data to support your claim, okay? What does it really mean? At the epistemological level, at the root of the issue, it means that you have to validate your claim, okay, by something that the universe will agree with you. The universe is your reference, okay? Because the universe, as we know it, is governed by laws, and the human being continues to discover these laws. Is that right? And I mean, you cannot claim something that will go against the laws of the universe. Simple example, I want to build a bridge, okay, and then the bridge falls. Okay, can I come and claim, oh, I am right and the universe or the bridge worked against me? Nobody will accept this. They will tell you, your calculations were not right. What does it really mean? My calculations were wrong.
You can follow
They were in contradiction with the laws of that govern this universe. Exactly. I mean, all the laws that now, again, I am not saying that we have reached everything. Probably the unknown is more than what is known, but with whatever we have discovered, we are able to move. Okay? I mean, your car, when it is, God forbid, when it is not working, there is something wrong. You take it to the dealer, okay, to find out what is the problem. What does it really mean? Oh, they know that in order for this part to work, it has to to be consistent with certain laws of mechanics. Is that right? If it doesn't really agree with it, they have to say, okay, there is something wrong. Either we have to repair or we have to bring a new piece that would really make your car work again. So this discovery is very important, but it is still in the realm of action. How we make sure that our actions are going to work. as I gave you the example, how my bridge that I am building is going to stay, okay, without falling on the head of the people, and the first one to be affected is the engineer because he is the first to try it. If it falls, I mean, it will fall first of all on the person who was responsible. So in other words, in the realm of action, okay, humanity to the greatest extent has reached really that very important conclusion and agreement. Because today you cannot say, okay, what mechanics that are applied in the United States are different from the mechanics that you apply in China or in Europe or in the Middle East or in Africa. It is the same. And this here comes very interesting concept, my dear brothers. Honestly, think about it a little bit with me. When Newton put his law of gravity, what did he call it? What did he call it? What is the exact name? Universal law of gravity. Wherever you are, this universality speaks for what? That there is something that will, like there is tawheed. There is unity. There is something unified about it. You see, I mean, I'm bringing you this example, okay? Nobody forced Newton to say it. But, I mean, the reality pushed him to say, it's amazing, this law applies everywhere. Whether you are on the moon or on the earth, it is basically, there is something called universal law of gravity. Again, at the epistemological level, it means that this universe is governed by laws that apply everywhere. There is, it has to come from one creator. It's not like several creators or by chance or whatever. This universality speaks for the unity that you see in the universe, speaks for the unity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is on the side. But I mean, I'm just telling you what does it really mean? Universal. This is how, as believers, will take from that. Yarhamukumullah. You see what I mean? This is what we take from it. But no question in my mind, okay, that the humanity has reached that conclusion that there should be a reference for everything we claim in the realm of action. The universe has to agree with it. But if I build a house, okay, and on the right foundations, right calculations, it will stand. Is that right? In terms of action, okay, it works. It will not fall. Now comes, for what reason I am going to use that house? You can use it for good, but at the same time you can use it for bad things, God forbid. Here comes the direction that I am giving to that action. Here the universe does not interfere. The universe doesn't know for your intention. You see, the universe does not interfere with your direction. So I need another reference for my direction. Make sense? The universe does not. Well, this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the universe to respond to everyone who asks the right question, regardless whether this individual believes or disbelieves in Allah. Has nothing to do. Whether he is from China or from Lebanon or from the Middle East or from Pakistan or India, doesn't matter. كُلًّا نُمِدُّ هَؤُلَاءِ وَهَؤُلَاءِ مِنْ عَطَاءِ رَبِّكَ. Even a stronger statement from Quran, سَوَاءً لِلسَّائِلِينَ. سَوَاءً. I gave you that example from your own work, from my work. What do we say in terms of employment? Equal opportunity employment. Everyone can apply. You see what I mean? And the universe, in terms of response, it has equal opportunity. The opportunity is the same for everyone, regardless that you ask the right question. If you do not get the right answer from the universe, don't question the universe. Question your data. Go back to the lab. Repeat the experiment. Change the conditions. See what went wrong. Okay? But when it comes to the direction of my action, I need another reference. So it is easy in the realm of action to convince humanity about it. But it is a good example to start the discussion. What about the direction? Who should give me the direction for my action? You see, here comes the first part of the surah. Okay? Talking about the human being. And we said the human being is the focus. I am looking at the universe, taking it as a reference for my action. It should be equally important to look at the revelation as the reference of guidance for the direction of my actions. Make sense? Very important, and this is why we said the central theme, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنَ تَنزِيلًا فَاصْبِرْ لِحُكْمِ رَبِّكَ وَلَا تُطِعْ مِنْهُمْ آثِمًا أَوْ كَفُورًا. Your agenda should be extracted from the reference of direction, Quran. Do not listen to others. Don't follow their agenda. How many times you see وَلَا تُطِعِ الْكَافِرِينَ? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is going to obey them. I mean, like to work at their service. But Quran is saying, be vigilant. It's a very slippery slope. You may fall like this one. You may fall into their agenda sometimes unconsciously, unknowingly. So be vigilant all the time. You see, because the consequences are completely different. All right? So, this is the central theme we talked about. Now we said, let us see how the other parts of the surah will converge into that central theme. So Quran is telling us that at one point in time, you were not there. We said before, this universe, this existence that we know it, as we know it, the physical existence of this universe started more than 13 billion years. And there is a consensus about that. If somebody has a different idea, please let me know. I am not aware, honestly. But there is consensus that the universe has a beginning. And it started more than 13 billion years. Was the human being there? Wow, it took billions of years until the human being appeared in this existence. So yes, we were not there as we know ourselves as a human race. Okay? But my dear brothers and sisters, we were there in the potential from the beginning. So the process, the journey of creation started there, from that point. And it is moving and will continue to move. And see for yourself, is this works for you or not? This existence, this life as we know it, is moving towards a bigger life. The same way we saw the dust, at one point it manifested itself in a human being. But at one point, okay, in terms of the plants are very efficient. Can you imagine from where the plants really bring their nutrition or their primary components? From where? From the soil, is that right? Do you go and eat the soil? See what will happen to us. But the plants are capable, and they transform it, sublimate it into the fruits, the vegetables that you and me eat.
And everything is different.
It's, you see, I mean, but so there were the plants, the animals, I mean, all of them. And I believe that they did not appear right away. You see? But I don't call it evolution. It is a creation. There is someone who was giving the order for a new species to appear, but you see that they follow this really trend of movement, one from the other. يخرج الحي من الميت ويخرج الميت من الحي. Think about it this way. You see, and at one point, the human being appeared. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told al-malaika, إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. This is the decision was made at that point. And at the right time. Because now, the conditions are right for the human being to appear. And even those who believe in evolution, they don't even believe in God or a creator. They believe that at one point in history, there was a significant shift. Because before the human being, there was nothing that is capable of using language. There was no one who is capable of thinking. And if the trees and the animals have their own physical things, like to sustain their life, oh, we were given something higher. Physical and non-physical. Language is non-physical. But see how, can you think without language? Can you think without language? But how? You see, without language, okay, you cannot. Thinking is an internal dialogue. You are, even when you are thinking, you are making dialogue with someone talking. Nobody is hearing you. That you're communicating with your own self. Is that right? So this is why Ar-Rahman, you all know it. Ar-Rahman allama al-Quran khalaqa al-insana allamahu al-bayan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created man and gave him very important characteristic, the eloquence, the ability to express in a very clear way. Eloquence. Allamahu al-bayan. But I'm sure you all thought about it. How come Quran will talk? Allama al-Quran khalaqa al-insan. Quran, I mean, was taught to the human being. But to show you how important for this human being to live his or her life guided by the reference, by the highest level of references. There are so many references in our life, but the highest, and I am not putting anything down. I'm not putting anything down. Okay? But Quran said, إِنَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ يَهْدِي لِلَّتِي هِيَ أَقْوَمُ. Quran guides to the most, what is more balanced. Quran is not saying other things are not balanced, but balance is really like a dynamic thing. Is that right? What we call it equilibrium. Balance may be static and we call it balance, but equilibrium is balance in over time. In other words, when I say this is better, I am not demeaning the good. It may be in the form of constitution. It may be in the form of traditions.
New amendments.
Yes, Muhammad.
Also, Quran, when it introduced itself,
Yes. Exactly.
The whole purpose of Quran is the
Guidance. Exactly. And this is where we are going. We are going in that direction, that the human being, when it appeared on this theater, okay, it was not left alone. From day one, when they came down, and the decision from the beginning was to go down to earth. إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. This is the decision before the creation, when still the human being is still in the idea, not materialized yet. And still, yeah, and remains a project, as we said last time. Okay? So the human being was not left alone. The first thing, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. You see, he was taught, who has given the ability to name things. So there is a purpose that accompanies that creation. And this is in order for that project to give its results, it has to provide the human being with all the elements needed. إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِن نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ نَبْتَلِيهِ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. Not only was given the ability to express himself or herself, but also given the senses. Yes, Muhammad.
Also through the naming, you can see also through history, civilizations. They were at the top, they were able to name.
Exactly.
Science,
Yes.
Greeks, Latins,
Yes, yes.
all these science and which civilization at the time, because of the naming, they were able to name, because they invented and they
Exactly.
and stayed in history.
Exactly. Because the name reflects understanding of a concept. Our knowledge is conceptual. You see, I mean, if I tell you, okay, if I say the word electron, okay, immediately comes to your mind the whole concept behind the word. But if I say a word that has no meaning, nobody will care. I mean, nobody will understand you. But now, today, I mean, like most of the people, if you say electron, comes to at least if they have some level of education, they understand. At least they know that it is a particle. They may not know that it can be particle versus wave, but at least they know this part of the atom. Yeah, but in other words, that word did not enter the dictionary until it became a concept first. And then the concept was given a name. This is why our knowledge is conceptual, as Iqbal rightly said it. Okay, that when in commenting on this verse, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا, Because it is not really a simple thing. Okay? And I believe that the names that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam, his names, because he started going across the malaika, the angels telling them they did not know. Probably they know one of them, but he knows all these names. Which means what? These are the names, these are the concepts that Adam and his descendants will require to fulfill their project on the earth. You see? So Allah Sami' Basir. And He made us, gave us the ability to see and to hear.
So,
yes, please.
Okay, when Allah says that نَبْتَلِهِ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا, it begs the question, what about those who are born deaf and blind?
Yeah.
Is Allah going to...
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, it's, you know, for the human beings, I mean, it's very difficult, like, to understand the full hikmah or all the wisdom behind that. But definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not really treat that person in the same way with somebody who was given more. Okay? But you know, again, we are really talking about this as a quality, okay, of the vast majority of humans. So they are capable of seeing, capable of hearing. But the point is, yes.
Sorry
yeah.
to interrupt.
No,
right, the basir and seeing also does not merely mean merely seeing.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So it's even though you might not be able to see physical world or you cannot hear it, you still have this cognitive capabilities in human, right?
And this is why we said last time that only humans can be physiologists or psychologists. Okay, I mean the animals can see and hear, but they don't have that consciousness of that they are able to see and hear. Yes.
So the word also basira is different from mubsira. Basira has the insight.
No, mubsir probably from insight.
It's just the
See, yeah, vision. Yeah.
But basira has more than just seeing.
Yes, exactly. So basar is sight, and basira is insight. And Quran used also a blindness and the opposite of vision, seeing, sight. Okay, but he called ama, not ama. Ama is blindness. Ama when the insight is not working. Then when we lose insight, or we behave as if we don't have, you may be seeing, but you don't have understand or reflect on what you are really seeing. You see that this is the whole the difference. Okay, it's very beautiful. Okay, that Quran really relates to the lack of vision as a blindness or ama, but also the lack of insight. Call it ama with a ha at the beginning. Ya'mahun, which means that they have they see, physically they see. But Quran says they are not using their sight properly to help them reach the right conclusions. And so because they lack the insight. Okay? So the whole idea of the guidance is really like so that we can make the best use of our senses. You need guidance, okay? In order, it's building that insight inside us. And the idea of nabtali, last time I told you that in summary, we are testing that human being. Is he capable of saying no? You see, the ability to say no is a unique human thing compared like to the animals, the plants, and the inanimate environment. Okay, only the human being is capable to say no. And this is the path for elevation. No, not to the things, but to the prison of the things. And we will get to that in the other part of the... Yes.
Draw a reference to another ayah. I don't know why, Allah knows best why He didn't include that. When He says, هُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ.
Yes.
So if in this case the afida was included, it will make perfect sense that the distinction between us and the animals.
Exactly, because al-afida will include that insight, okay, and the ability to think, the ability, I mean, like one of the important parts in our brain, okay, the neocortex is the frontal lobe. You see, this is I mean, physically even, we are differentiated, okay? We share certain parts of our brains with other animals. Is that right? Okay, like if you take a turtle, we may have probably share with them that both of us have like the brain stem. Okay, but then you have the lower parts of our brain. Okay, maybe you see it in mammals, but you don't see the neocortex. I think this is the revolution, if you like, the cognitive revolution. But in the frontal lobe, one of it's the center of inhibition. What is inhibition? The ability to say no. No. If somebody loses that ability to inhibit, it's considered a state of illness. It's a disease. You see what I mean? So how we can strengthen that ability to say no to all the prisons? Read with me. The part that corresponds to the first 2-3 verses comes towards the end. Number 27 and 28. Quran is saying that in that journey of creation, you and other things in this existence continue to move into another life. You see? Now, some may say, okay, they become imprisoned in the here and now. I am going to live 50 years, 60 years. I will take advantage of this because this is the end of it. Quran is saying, no, that journey will continue into a bigger life. And everything I provided you here is to prepare you for a bigger creation. And bigger creation means bigger purpose, bigger life. And Quran call it. This is life, hayat. A bigger life, hayawan. And the exaggeration, it's magnified multiple times. So Quran is saying, إِنَّ هَؤُلَاءِ يُحِبُّونَ الْعَاجِلَةِ. They only love the present, the here and now. That is very evanescent. It will disappear no matter how long you live. It will be a very small fraction of this whole journey that started more than 13 billion years. And God knows for how long it will continue. But I have no doubt in my mind that it's going in that direction. Direction of a bigger life. وَيَذَرُونَ وَرَاءَهُمْ يَوْمًا ثَقِيلًا. Leaving behind them the idea of another day. And Quran describes it as thaqil. It's a weighty day. Because we will be accountable on that day. So in other words, my dear brothers and sisters, unfortunately, the day of judgment and the next life has been really like presented in a very simple, to the point that people don't even make out of it anything. Oh, and to the point they think this is more of superstition. But when you presented that you are moving, look, even the revelation itself also moved. Can you think about it? They talk about evolution. I tell them more than that. Not only the human being and the other creatures went through that movement, but also the revelation itself moved. At one time it was the Old Testament. At another point became the New Testament, Torah, Injil, and then it became Quran. And even before that was the tablets of Ibrahim, Suhuf Ibrahim. At one point was in the form of Zabur that was given to Dawood alayhi. You see, it's bigger than, in other words, how we can bring before humanity a unified, if you like, theory that will help them to understand why they are here. What is the cosmic, the human, what is the human place in this cosmos? Where are you? How you are viewed? So the human being is definitely given this ability to elevate, not to submit, to elevate himself or herself towards Allah. فمن شاء إن هؤلاء يحبون العاجلة ويذرون وراءهم يوما ثقيلا. Remember, نحن خلقناهم. We created them and made them strong. شددنا أسرهم. وإذا شئنا بدلنا أمثالهم تبديلا. And if we wish, we can replace them, but I believe this replacement, you go through that. You and I have the capacity to be elevated higher and higher. You became a different Walid, you become a different Noor, you become a different Riza, you become... You see, this is the tabdeel that we... قادرين على أن نبدل خيرا منهم. This elevation, so that you become worthy of the new project in the next life.
I think
yes,
the evolution we see within ourselves, like there's multiple forms. One, we always say our kids are smarter than us. Is that? But it's
yes, no question about it.
They are truly smart.
No question about it, right? In my mind.
The elevation they're going through, time. And in the beginning of our journey, when we were young, we were focused on what is there. We're focused on.
But what is that? But what is really the real challenge, brother Shakir? How there is a catch here. This thing that you are describing is great, but is it going to become another prison? Or I am able of liberating myself of that prison in order to get elevated towards Allah. إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا. إن هذه تذكرة. This guidance that Quran talked about it, إنا هديناه السبيل. At the beginning, Quran is saying, make that guidance part of your memory, to remind you all the time, every moment. Don't you feel that every moment you need guidance? When you are driving. And especially today we see it more physically with the GPS. Moment by moment it is, like covering your path, guiding you moment to moment. Is that right? No, you are able to see it. The same thing. Quran is saying, make that guidance coming from Allah part of your memory. إن هذه تذكرة make it coming from inside you. I am not imposing anything on you. I want you to remember what is installed inside you. Inna hadihi tadhkira. Still Quran gives the choice. Give us the ability to choose. فَمَنْ شَاءَ اتَّخَذَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ سَبِيلًا. Are we capable of saying no to the prison of the world of things, to our ability to invent, our ability like to have a better life? All these can become a prison, preventing us of continuing or seeing our major project, because we are going in that elevation towards a bigger life. You see, I'm trying like to make it more meaningful.
I think that's the hardest part.
Hardest part, no question about it.
There's people, human, they want to touch things. They want to feel it.
Exactly.
Accomplishment.
Exactly. The here and exactly the here and now. Ajila. Quran call it ajila. They hasten into it and thinking that this is an end by itself. While Quran is saying, no, this is just a station towards a bigger life. A weighty day. يَوْمًا ثَقِيلًا. You are going, that is the direction towards Allah. Towards Allah meaning what? Meaning what towards Allah? So, and Allah is our Qibla. He is the most merciful. I have to judge myself. Are my actions merciful or not? You see, Allah is the justice. Al-Adl are my actions capable of establishing justice? Oh, yeah. If not, I have to revisit. Otherwise, I am not going in the direction of Allah. I'm going in other directions. وَأَنَّ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي فَاتَّبِعُوهُ وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا السُّبُلَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about His path, one path. But there are so many others, don't follow them. But even going in towards Allah, Allah is the Qibla, but you can reach Him from different directions. As long as that direction takes you towards Allah, towards realizing His beautiful names, this is the skill that we want. This is the skill that we need to teach our kids, ourselves, our family members, our neighbors, that the idea of Sabil Allah, it means that am I really realizing His beautiful names?
And that's why it's the heavy day. Because those are the qualities we'll be judged on.
Very good. This is how we are going to be judged, and we will see in the second part of the surah. It's very beautiful that it's not like this. That day will be a reflection of what we are doing here. And what we are doing here, we will see it over there. But over there is not like here. Over there, it's absolute reality. Here is reality, but it's not absolute. Over there, we are not going to question anything, because it will be very clear and real in the absolute, to the absolute level. Yeah.
I want to go back to the previous ayah with the Yaman Saqila.
Yes.
I take consolation from there that I think it will be a very heavy day for the non-believers.
Yes.
Because if I suppose another ayah.
Yes.
Allah says, Yawma tahiyyatuhum yalqawnahu salam.
Yeah.
So when Allah is saying that for a very clear cut.
No question about it.
So the Yawm al-Thaqila is for guys who don't...
In other words, we will come to that in the surah itself, how we can avoid or protect ourselves from the heaviness of that day. You see what I mean? You remember in Surah Al-Muddathir, وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ على الكافرين غير يسير. You see, that day is heavy on those who basically were, they did not have the insight about, it was not on their mind. In other words, they cover up that kafirin. What is kafirin? Covering up. They cover up that idea of that we are going in the direction of another life. So they became prisoners of the here and now. يحبون العاجلة.
Covering up the names of Allah. But
yes.
What are you doing? Basically,
yes.
That there is a goodness in these names. Their meaning, though. The kafirun is just not like, oh, I don't believe in Allah. It's more than that.
No, yes. No question about it. Yeah, you are right. You are right. They are, in other words, if somebody is committing zulm, transgression, injustice, oppression, they are really covering up the idea of justice. If somebody is doing something wrong that is hurting the people or hurting himself or covering up mercy. Again, we distinguished last time between those who took the wrong path, okay, and Quran calls them ضالين. But al-maghdubi alayhim, this is that they lost the direction. You see, no direction is worse than, because kafir is somebody who's hit the wall, no more direction. And thankfully they are very small number. But the majority are waiting for somebody to give them guidance so that they go back to the right path. Because they missed the exit. on the highway, they missed the exit. They need somebody to tell them where is the exit in order to reach. And if they know it, they become the most interested in that exit. Yes?
That's a responsibility of people like us to show them the right signs.
The guided people. Okay? And exactly. Because Quran said it's not really the responsibility of the prophet or the messenger, but the responsibility of those who received the message. فَلَنَسْأَلَنَّ الَّذِينَ أُرْسِلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَنَسْأَلَنَّ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. Not only the messengers will be asked about their mission, but those who receive the message also become responsible. My dear brothers, believe me, I mean, think about this. Think about this. The human being is responsible. Don't expect anything to come from outside. Okay? We are responsible for our destination. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to take our role. And this is very important. I am not going also to take his role. You see? Allah will not take my role. I have to make a change towards goodness. And He will not make any change in me unless I initiated that change. I am responsible. And don't say, oh, I am doing this for God. God doesn't need us. وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ فَإِنَّمَا يُجَاهِدُ لِنَفْسِهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَغَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. Don't tell me that I am doing this in the name of Allah. Quran is saying very clearly, وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ فَإِنَّمَا يُجَاهِدُ. If you struggle in this life, it's only for yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is self-sufficient. He doesn't need us. He is the rich, ghani. But what is the what we can bring out from this. That Allah, He is saying that I am not going to take your role, but don't at the same time take my role. Go in the direction that leads you to me. Meaning, as how I can do that? The more I realize His names in my life, I get closer to Him. I will know that I am on His path.
That's the bottom.
Yes.
So simple way. You want to plan something, you want to travel.
Mm-hmm.
You have a car, you have money, you have a road, your GPS.
Yes.
You need your action.
Mm-hmm.
Get in the car and drive. How can I easy and simple?
Very good. Which means, this example, it means how can I make, because when you move your car, this is a movement. You are moving.
No.
But what you are trying to do here, this is a very good example. You are trying to make the movement, the direction, and the destination aligned. Where is the problem? When we are moving, but we are missing the direction, the right direction. You see what I mean? Are we going to reach?
We don't have
If you need Allah, Allah is your goal. If you take another path, are you going to reach Him? You see, إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. We guided that human being, but it is up to him. I am not going to force anything on that human being. He or she has to make that choice. Either you are going to be thankful or ingrate, unthankful. How I thank Allah, this is the question that inshallah we'll discuss in details next time. But I will leave you with this. اعملوا آل داود شكرا. I want you to see the connection between action, work, and being thankful. You can only be thankful through action, not by saying. You see, you talk the talk, but you walk the walk. Sabr. You cannot say, oh, I am patient. No, sabr have to be followed by good deeds. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Believe. Can you say I am a believer without showing actions? الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. It is consistent. Universal. You see the unity that we are talking about? There is nothing that you are supposed to do and expect something from outside. You have to do it and show it. Yes?
From the beginning of our journey, we have been provided with like 99 attributions as pieces of the puzzle to put them together.
Yes.
As one time you mentioned there, when you combine.
Oh my God, this is a different topic. Yes.
How much we put the combinations together.
Yes, and balance among them.
Yeah. Because if I am going for a camping on a peak of the mountain, final destination, so I have to carry those useful stuff with me. So when God is challenging, then when you'll go to a higher life, you will be needing this much to take it.
Yes.
The more you will have it, you will be easier.
It will be easier on that day. Exactly. And the path, you see, because eventually we want to be with Allah. Who doesn't want? I mean, if you believe truly with Allah, you want to be with Him. You see? So how I will be able to reach that without really like taking the appropriate actions? Again, actualizing His names. And again, my dear brothers, it is more, again, of a skill. I am not giving you piece of information. I am giving you a skill by which you can judge yourself and helping others, okay, to see for themselves if they are doing the right thing. I am not, again, here to judge people, but I can provide them with the tools, the right tools, okay, so they know for themselves if they are really going in the direction of Allah or they missed that direction, that path, okay. That is really, and this is how the human choice is one of the greatest grants that we were given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His will has no limit. It's encompassing everything. But when I know that Allah has this limitless will, it guarantees my own will. When you are capable of making choices in this life, remember that this is a grant from Allah, because He has the full and perfect will, okay? So that gives me the guarantee to exercise my own. But here comes the catch. How are you going to make that a choice? إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. You see? But don't think that your choice or this ability, your will, is against the will of Allah. No, no, no. It is part of what He has offered us. The fact that you made a choice, for example, today to come to the masjid, okay, it's a proof that you exercised your choice. You see, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us that ability to choose. وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَنْ يَشَاءَ اللَّهِ.
Yes. Can I read that ayah, when Allah says, إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. I detect a sense of humor, in the sense that, let me explain. So if you read this, Allah says, okay, I give the guidance, you take it or leave it. It seems like the story ends there, but no, until you read the next ayah, when He says, "Inna a'tadna lil kafirina salasila wa aghlalan sa'ira."
Yes.
The big danda, Yeah. The punishment is in the next verse. The previous ayah, the kuffar, okay, He says, well, Allah says, I take it or leave it, Yeah. But if you read the next ayah, then if you don't take it, what happens?
Which means that there is consequence.
Right.
Okay, you are accountable for the choices that you are going to make. Right. It is an opportunity, because if you remember, in the past we said the real meaning of freedom is not just the ability to make a choice, take this against that, okay? But are we capable of elevating ourselves, freeing ourselves of the prisons? How that, the same verse that you said, إِنَّا أَعْتَدْنَا لِلْكَافِرِينَ سَلَاسِلَ وَأَغْلَى. What salasil? Chains. أَغْلَالَ, shackles. It means that because you imprisoned yourself in this life by the shackles and the chains of all the prisons that you accepted for yourself, and you did not say no to them, you will see the same thing in the hereafter. So the hereafter, or the next life, is a reflection of what we have done here. In other words, when we read these verses, it is helping us where we should say no and where we should say yes. Even when you say yes to something imprison you, you have to say no even to the prison of the good. Make sense? This is why saying no, it really summarizes the challenge that we are facing in this life. Nabtali. Believe me, if you think about it, we are going to be tested moment by moment. Are we capable of saying no to the prisons, to the idols that we make for ourselves? It may be in the form of my ego. It may be in the form of my status. It may be in the form of my social status, socio-economic, whatever, I mean, you call it. Okay? Anything of these can become idolized, can become a prison that prevent me from that journey of elevation towards Allah.
But this is the hardest part.
Hardest part.
Our own prison, because we have created.
Oh my God! The human, exactly.
Allah did not create that.
The strongest prison is the prison of the self, because you are the prison, the prisoner, and the jailer at the same time. See how difficult it is, how complex it is. Anything outside you, you are still in a better position to say no to it. But when it comes to self, it's more complicated. Inna a'da a'da'ika. This is what the Prophet, peace be upon him, said. Inna a'da a'da'ika nafsuka allati bayna jambayk. The worst enemy to you is your own self. Again, Muhammad ﷺ is talking the prison of the self. The most difficult to say no to it. And this is where a sujood becomes a very good example of saying no to your own ego. You are putting the most dignified part of your body on the ground, as if you are saying no to arrogance. Exactly, which is the most difficult. Yes.
I mean, when you look at this, the human life, how they made you, God gave you all your hands, arms, all the tools they give you to yourself, your brain, your thinking. They give you all the material in the worldwide. And some people say, I don't know what to do. We give you the guidance. If you don't use your mind and head on around, use all the scientific, all the creation, He gives you the guidance that you found it. And they don't even use it.
Yeah. And this is where really I want, at one point we need to go to the next level together and say, start really recognizing and identifying problems, issues, okay, that we may be facing either at the personal level or collectively, okay, and say, okay, let us bring that issue or that problem and let us see as an exercise how the revelation help us. I don't think this has been done appropriately. Okay, we have been doing it in the form of fatwa. Okay, somebody asks a question and immediately we give them an answer, haram or halal. You see what I mean? Without sometimes even understanding all the intricacies of that issue. I think at one point we need to start seeing how this can be applied. We have been talking for years that this is the reference for our direction. This is the reference for guidance. But are we using it? Are we utilizing it to help us find solutions, answers to these challenges? Or it remains really theoretical, that, oh, Quran is the best. But when it comes to reality, are we really using it? Utilizing its guidance.
You know, we have physics, we have applied physics, we have chemistry,
yes,
applied chemistry.
Exactly.
We have mechanics, we have applied mechanics.
Yeah.
We have Quran, how come we do not have applied Quran?
Exactly. This is where, and in fact, it may become really the basis for a new science related to Quran, where really can talk about the science of extracting the direction from its source, from its reference, Quran. You see what I mean? So I think this is a challenge for all of us. I mean, but again, it's not something that will happen. I mean, but really we need to think about it. We can dedicate, if you like, the last, let us say, 2 or 3 months of this season and say, okay, instead of really like taking a surah and discuss it, which is, we have been doing this for years, but we may say, okay, we can probably raise an issue, identify a problem. As I said, we should, I mean, if somebody say that, doesn't mean that he is going through it or she is going through it. Let us separate ourselves, okay, from these issues and the problems and start really, unless somebody wants, like, because this is his personal challenge, I mean, he definitely has all the right to share, okay, in what way that becomes a challenge to him or to her.
We have the mortgage everybody has.
I'm sorry?
We have the mortgage that everybody has. We all pay interest. That affects all of us.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things that we can probably, and then we say, okay, let us identify this problem, understand it collectively, and then say, okay, all right, in what way really I may not have, or we may not collectively have all the answers, but that will be a challenge to look for them. You see what I mean? And to elevate the question so that Quran will give me a higher answer. Yes?
One of the problems lately, I work in inner cities too,
yes.
You know, with youth and Muslims too. Unfortunately, we don't realize that. Drug problems, including alcohol. I never realized it lately. I went to looking for business in Indianapolis.
Exactly. And let me ask you this question: is it enough, like, to say to people, "Oh, it is haram," and it's not going to, I mean, to work?
Muslim youth too.
Yeah.
Labeling is not this.
It's not going. Yeah.
You analyze, you go into it, and find.
So what I suggest, we still have, I mean, to finish this surah, and we have another surah of this, I mean, the curriculum that we put for ourselves, which is para 29, okay? Think about it. If this is something that is of interest to you, we can structure it in that way. Well, think about it. I don't need answers right now.
No.
But think about it.
I think someone like yourself is probably in a very good position to handle this challenge, because you see, typically the fatwas come from, let's say, Saudi. They have no idea about
yes. What we are doing. Yeah, exactly.
So for someone like yourself, you were here, and you also, so you have advantages of the both worlds, and you're almost ideally suited to handle this challenge.
But really, I don't want you also to underestimate your own experiences, your own knowledge, I mean, mashallah, each one of you has so many years of experience in their own field. That is highly needed. And if we need expertise from others, we can probably be a reason to bring these people and become part of that, I mean, project, if we like to call it a project. What do you think?
I totally agree.
Good idea? Okay. So then it becomes a practical thing rather than one person. But I think we have reached, I mean, now I think this group in particular, they realize what is the difference between to have the right action, but at the same time the right direction, and how the universe helps us to make our actions right and work, but also we need the revelation to help us in the guidance for the direction of our actions. Okay?